Sure. I'm starting on 3.
I don't even, do you have like a chord chart for here?
My name is Adam Hughes. I'm the East Tennessee organizer with SOCM, which is statewide organizing for community empowerment, and I live here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I came to Knoxville, Tennessee in early 2014. I had been living and working for a short period of time in West Virginia before that, and I'd been working with a campaign even before that in Connecticut to try to oppose the financing of mountaintop removal coal mining. And I met a bunch of people throughout Appalachia for whom this was a really important fight for them. And through that work, they had invited me down to Tennessee. I moved here in 2014, immediately got involved with SOCM. Everyone here just pointed to this organization. These are the folks in Tennessee who are really doing the environmental groundwork. So I became a SOCM member. I started attending meetings, and I was lucky enough in November of that year that they were looking for a full-time organizer. It was a time when the institution was going through a lot of change. They were looking for someone who could remain kind of committed to the group, and I applied and ended up getting hired to do that job, and now 10 years later, here I am.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you so much to everyone for coming out tonight. We're all really excited. Thank you to everyone who's a SOCM member who's here tonight. Thank you for all the work you do year-round. SOCM is statewide organizing for community empowerment. We are now a 52-year-old community organizing group. We've been here in East Tennessee since 1972, and we're not going anywhere.
It means a lot to me to be a part of an organization that has such a deep history. For 52 years now, SOCM has been organizing communities throughout East Tennessee. In the early 70s, when folks were trying to oppose surface coal mining and strip mining in their communities, it was really dangerous. People would have their houses burned, people would be beat outside of public hearings. It was a big perception that you were fighting against economic development just because you were trying to save your house and your land. And then I remember in 2016, I had helped to organize a lands unsuitable for mining petition and helped to coordinate turnout for 4 public hearings in 4 days. And that ultimately led to 76,000 acres of surface ridgeline in East Tennessee being permanently protected from strip mining. Shortly after, I got to meet up with the founding president of SOCM, a man named J.W. Bradley. He's still alive. He lives in Wartburg in Morgan County. And I got to take a picture of him posing with a newspaper headline saying, "Mountaintop mining banned in Tennessee." And to see a guy who had been making that the fight of his life for 50 years, being able to celebrate a victory like that after all he'd been through, not a lot of people get to celebrate a moment like that. So that was really special for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Right on. Along with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Our power doesn't come from lawyers, or it doesn't come from the media, or it doesn't come from anywhere but people working together. So finding ways to build community that don't feel like work, having fundraising shows, having house parties and holiday parties, that's just as important to me as going to the community meetings and challenging the permits, because when people build those bounds of trust and where people love each other and care about each other, that's what makes them the strongest advocates for the future of their community.
That was good,
My name is Rosie Cross. I am part of the Knox County chapter of SOCM, doing housing work, and I'm also on the board for SOCM.
And I'm Jane.
SOCM helps me feel part of a community. In my previous work, a lot of times I just felt alone. Just being in a space with people who care about the things that I care about, who work really hard to make a difference, has been incredibly empowering.
That's why he couldn't come to the soccer annual meeting because he was too busy making mortadella. Yeah.
Making mortadella for
Some of
Nicolene.
the issues that SOCM is working on here locally and across the state, we're working on eviction prevention. There's a lot of work happening around the media, just sharing with the media what's happening with eviction prevention, how much of a need there is, and that funding is set to run out unless our community leaders choose to fund it, which is what we need.
This agenda is spot on. Let's just be straight up. It's spot on. It is the roadway to get something in place.
So SOCM members are community members. Our organization functions best when it's not me coming into a new community, but when it's people in a community who want to organize, who know our reputation, who maybe don't know how to organize around the issues they see in their own lives, but they know that they want to talk to people who can help with that. So we help community members help themselves in a sense.
How do we present that information, the background information for that? NCR?
You know, I think we've had a lot of wins over the past 50 years. There's some things I'm really proud of. When I look at my work over the past 10 years, I see some real significant wins that I'm proud to have been a part of. I also think we're fighting many of the same fights we fought 50 years ago. Tennessee is not a state that has environmental justice. It's not a state that has economic or social justice yet. The housing market is still deeply segregated. People don't have housing stability. Laws protecting people's air and water are not strong enough. So I want to keep winning the small fights, but I never want to give up till we have real justice, that everyone in this state gets to enjoy a strong community, a safe and secure house, a safe and strong environment, and a strong economy that works for them. And I would like to look back in 50 more years when I'm 85 and say, wow, we really worked for justice and we really won stuff in a significant way that benefits people throughout the state. We haven't just won the small victories, but we've changed the entire system.